Hey everyone, what's good? What's going on? JB here. I'm super excited and I'm super grateful for today's live stream. We are doing a 10K subscriber celebration today. I'm just overwhelmed. Really, I started this channel probably about 2 years ago. Wanted to start putting out content for folks. Wanted a way to give back for all the different ways that people have mentored me and trained me and just been supportive during my career. And I thought that creating content both on YouTube and Twitter and in the blog space would be a great way to do that. And yeah, I've just been overwhelmed. The fact that we're to 10K subscribers in about 2 years or so is just amazing. I appreciate all of the people who show up, share the videos, like the videos. I always get really, really great feedback, so I really appreciate that from everybody. And so today is all about thanking everyone who does that. And I have some giveaways that we're going to do today. Actually have a lot of stuff to give away, which is really, really cool. And I wanted to pick some things that I thought kind of aligned with different topics and different areas within tech that I've done a lot of content on. These are all different resources that I've actually used myself that I've really enjoyed from other content creators that put out amazing stuff. And then also from some different learning platforms and vendors who I think are definitely great and valuable in the services that they provide. So that's what we're going to do today. I got a lot of stuff to give away. I got some Juniper certification vouchers. I got a TryHackMe subscription, a AWS associate certification bundle or course bundle for it's 3 different courses for the different associate certifications. David Bombal is absolutely awesome. I love all of his content that he puts out, but he has a Python for network engineers course, which I used earlier this year as I was kind of diving into some network automation type of stuff that I thought was amazing. And I was going to give one of those away. He completely surprised me. And he gave me 1,000 to give away. So we're going to do that. Try and give away 1,000 of his courses. I have no idea how that's going to work out, but hey, I'm going to throw the code up there for all of you to go and get the course. It's an amazing course. And then XSSRat, who is awesome. I've been on his YouTube channel twice. He always puts out great stuff on bug bounties and cross-site scripting and hacking APIs and ethical hacking, all sorts of great stuff. I was going to give away one of his courses, and he stepped up and he was like, "Hey, here's 10 of my entire course bundle. I think it covers like 12 or 13 courses. These things normally go for $400. Well, he gave me 10 of those to give away. So I have all those, and I'm going to announce the winners for each of these throughout this stream as we're doing this, and try and tie back all of these into some different content that I've created and explain why I think it's awesome. So have a whole bunch of people dropping in and throwing some comments in there. So I'm going to go ahead and throw these up real quick before we actually move over into my other browser so we can do some stuff. So just going to throw these up real quick. Appreciate everybody dropping in. This is awesome. Let's see. Congrats on 10K subs. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. What's up, team? I see you. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of folks coming in. Wow, 332 in India. That is wild. Well, hopefully I'll give you a hint. If you're here for the David Bombal stuff, just go check out the description for the video. I don't want to keep you up. I mean, much past that. That's pretty crazy. Congrats on the 10K. Awesome. Yeah, appreciate everybody dropping in. This is great. So let me move over into my other browser and we can start talking about some of the different content I've created over the 2 years, stuff that I think is really beneficial, and then why I chose some of these different resources that hopefully will help you in different avenues that you're trying to learn different things. So honestly, I have so much different stuff. I'm kind of all over the place. Some people in the content that they create, they really, really stick into one particular niche. And when I started doing this, I was like, I'm only going to do networking stuff because my career definitely has been very, very network centric. Earlier in my career, I got a CCNA, I got a CCNP, went after the CCIE up, at least up to the point where I passed the CCIE written exam a few times. And then my career kind of delved into cybersecurity stuff, but I was like, hey, networking is the stuff that I'm normally the most passionate about. I'm gonna start doing that. And yeah, that didn't quite work out quite like that. Definitely do have a lot of networking content, but as soon as I started listening to feedback from people about different things that they, wanted to learn about, networking is always fundamental. It's always stuff that you should focus on. And I do have a lot of, Cisco stuff, a lot of Network Plus stuff, a lot of Juniper stuff, but as you can see from all my different playlists of different videos, and I think I have over 200 videos at this point, um, really a wide spectrum of different types of content topics. And I don't know, for me, that at least makes making content interesting because a lot of times when I'm doing stuff, I'm either refreshing on stuff that I learned a long time ago, or I might actually be learning brand new stuff along with you. And that was kind of, what I wanted to do in creating this was to be a bit of a study buddy for folks as they're starting to delve into topics that they might not be familiar with. So yeah, if you look here, you see I got web app pen testing, a lot of TryHackMe stuff. We're going to talk about TryHackMe and how much I love that platform. It's absolutely amazing. CCNA, CCNP, networking, cloud technology, which if you've been following the channel lately, you know that I've been hitting that up quite a bit. And just a bunch of other stuff, Linux, Pentest Plus, lots of good stuff. So pretty much if there's something in tech that you want to do, I probably have a little bit of content that might be able to help you out. So saying that, where are we going to start with today? Well, the first stuff that I really started to do when I started creating content here on YouTube was, as I mentioned, the networking stuff, but it quickly turned into Juniper stuff. I have a background in Juniper. I definitely started off on the Cisco side of things, but I'd say over the past maybe 10 years or so, definitely been very heavy on the Juniper stuff. Well, I started creating this content when COVID hit, and also, if you remember at that time, a lot of different vendors were putting out a lot of different free training. And Juniper at that time was just absolutely doing some amazing stuff. They were putting out free training courses for all of their associate level certs. And then they actually were giving out free exam vouchers. So pretty much if you went, did their free training, they had some practice tests, and they had an exam voucher test. If you passed the exam voucher test, it would earn you a free voucher to go take one of their associate exams. Now, those vouchers from Juniper, I mean, I think the associate exams go for 200, the specialist is 300, and the professionals are 400. So to be able to get a $200 exam for free was pretty awesome, and I jumped on that. So I started making a whole bunch of content for Juniper stuff. I mean, you can kind of see it here. I actually did all 6 of their associate certs in that time period, and what I wanted to do was do their practice tests, kind of walk through those, give you my idea on why I thought answers was correct, why an answer was correct or not correct. And then I'd go and take the test, and then I'd do a review video after that talking about all the different areas that you really needed to focus on. So if you are ever interested in doing any Juniper stuff, I mean, this is a good place to start off with. Like I said, I did the JNCI Junos was the first one I did. That's kind of like their CCNA. And then there's JNCI Sec, the JNCDA, which actually was my favorite one. That's actually their architecture associate cert, which was a lot of fun. And then their cloud cert, their DevOps cert, which is really the first time I ever messed with any real in-depth DevOps type of stuff. And then they came out with a Wi-Fi cert for their Mist AI platform, which I ended up doing later. They actually ended up coming out with a 7th associate cert this year, which is a data center one. Actually looks pretty cool because I think it deals with like VXLAN and VPLS and things like that. Might actually look at doing that sometime later this year, maybe. But yeah, so the Juniper stuff, if you've been following me, you know I love it. I think it's all really, really beneficial stuff. And so that's where we're going to start as far as the giveaways go right now. So I'm going to announce the 5 winners of the Juniper Associate Cert, or not Associate Cert, the Juniper exam voucher, or the 5 exam vouchers that I'm giving away. One thing to point out with those, I think they are good up through October. So if you are a winner, you do need to do it by then. And no worries if you're not watching the stream right now. Once this is all done, I'm actually going to go and announce all the winners for all the different stuff back on my Twitter feed. So let me move stuff around so we can kind of see what we have going on there. And here are our 5 winners. I'm not going to go and jack up people's different handles. So I'm just going to leave this up for a minute. If you happen to be in here and you happen to win, congratulations. If not, don't worry. I'm going to go and hit these folks up once the stream wraps up. But cool thing to mention with these exam vouchers, they are good for the associate, the specialist, or the professional certs. So they're actually worth up to $400. So really, really cool. Oh, looks like Victor's in here. Hey, look at that. Yeah. Hopefully that's useful to you. So yeah, pretty great. I love Juniper. Hopefully we'll put out some more Juniper content here. Maybe someday I'll go after one of the specialist or professional certs as well. And kind of see how that goes. I kind of focused on some cloud certs right now, but once I knock those out, maybe we'll circle back to the Juniper stuff. Still use Juniper stuff every day. Love it, especially the SRX's fantastic platform as far as firewalls go. So let's see. Let us move on to the next one. Oh, I think I made myself disappear. That was not what I wanted to do. So let's bring that back up. Hey, just so you know, because you're asking how you put your name in for the giveaway. So the giveaway was actually to put your name in for those. You needed to respond back to a Twitter thread that I put out this past week. But don't worry, because the David Bombal Python for network engineers, if you just go look in the description of the video, there's a link right there. You can click on that and get that course for free. So for those of you who've showed up, and if you don't end up winning any of these other ones that you might have put in or you weren't aware of, you can still go and get that. And that is an awesome course. Okay, so the next kind of group of topics and services and resources that I really, really love is TryHackMe. And, you know, I mean, for a while there, I was doing a TryHackMe lab pretty much every week doing something. And I honestly think, as far as TryHackMe goes, it probably is one of the better learning platforms out there. I would say for cybersecurity for sure, but they even have some learning paths that are for, you know, some, I don't know if you want to call it like infrastructure or ops or IT non-cyber related topics, which are super awesome, beneficial. Their lessons are short, concise, but to the point, and the fact that they have labs that you get to go in and mess around with, I think just makes them a fantastic learning platform. It's not that expensive. I think, trying to remember how much it is for a whole year, maybe $120, I think, or maybe it's $90. But you can really build up some awesome skills using it. So you can either go and do, you know, individual rooms and stuff like that, or if there's a certain area that you're interested in, they have learning paths, which are awesome. I actually used the Comptia Pentest Plus learning path when I was studying for my Pentest Plus. Absolutely awesome. I really thought that the way that they laid stuff out was great. They kind of broke things down in different ways. You have different rooms you can go into and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, as far as anybody who, whenever they ask me, I get asked this question a lot. Hey, I want to get into cybersecurity. And that's kind of like a very, I don't know, a very high level question that's hard to provide, you know, a specific answer to. This is one of the places that I will definitely point people to right away and be like, well, if you really don't know what it is in cybersecurity that you want to do, there's a lot of different things that you can go and try here, both either with a paid option or the free option that might help you, you know, narrow down the scope of what it is that you're actually interested in within cyber. So I think that's about my spiel for TryHackMe. Yeah, like I said, I got a whole bunch of different rooms. Hey, I see Kiki dropping in here. I'm going to throw her up here real quick. Well, what's going on? Appreciate you dropping in. She did a bunch of TryHackMe rooms with me on some of the live streams. A lot of fun. I'm sure she loves TryHackMe as much as I do at this point. So for the TryHackMe subscription giveaway, it was just one 3-month subscription. Let's see. Let me move some stuff around here. We already did the Juniper one. Oh no, I'm going a little bit too far. Let's see. Where is my... see if this is my winner. Sorry about that. Let's just get rid of all of these and go like this. There we go. Nay the Geek, congratulations. And it happens to also be her birthday. So that may or may not have influenced my decision on giving it to her. I don't know. She always supports stuff that I end up putting out. So, hey, congratulations. I'll hit you up after the stream to make sure that you can get your 3-month subscription there, get you the code for that. So awesome. Congratulations again. And let's see. The next thing that we have here is we're going to talk a little bit about web app pen testing. Now, this is not my forte at all. So what's kind of interesting with this is that actually some of my highest rated and highest viewed videos are actually dealing with web app pen testing. Something that I've never done once in my entire life, except for in lab walkthroughs. It has absolutely nothing to do with, you know, my work that I do as a IT and cybersecurity architect, but pretty interesting. And for some reason, my lab walkthroughs resonate with folks. So somebody who does know a lot about web app pen testing is XSSRat, and the content that he puts out is absolutely amazing. He has so many different courses that cover a wide gambit of different things, from cross-site scripting, APIs, bug bounties, ethical hacking, all sorts of stuff. And like I said, he actually gave away 10 of his Full House bundles, which is absolutely amazing. Just to kind of show you what actually is in these bundles, which is pretty cool. An ethical hacking guide, bug bounty guide. So all of these things individually, if you see how much they cost, they add up pretty quick. A guide for OWASP top 10, his cross-site scripting guide, advanced recon ethical hacking, burp suite secrets. So a whole bunch of great stuff. So the winners of this, I mean, they're going to have a lot of stuff to go through here. Kind of a little bit jealous. I might see if I can snag one of these from him as well, because all the stuff that he puts out is super awesome and super helpful. And I know he puts a lot of effort and a lot of passion into all the different content that he creates related to that. So let me go and find the winners for this. And we'll throw that up. Bam, there we go. All right, so 10 folks there. I am not going to butcher people's names. They're there. I'm going to leave them up for like 30 seconds. And then I'll go and tag everybody back on Twitter, so that way they make sure that I get that. I do see some folks in there that I do know. DJax Alpha, I don't know if Davin's on the stream today, but anyway, he's awesome. Go check him out at Alpha Cybersecurity. He's always putting out great stuff. InfoSec Unplugged. He's got his hands in a lot of stuff. Let's see. All right. I'm going to take a sip of water, then we can move on to the next. Okay. So let's get rid of that and move back over here. So, as I mentioned, something that I've been doing a lot of recently is cloud technology stuff. There's a few different things that kind of go with this. You know, you always have different vendors end up putting out free training. So that helps. Some put out different types of vouchers that are helpful as well. But if you've been following my stuff lately, you know that I've really been hitting up the AWS stuff a lot. And so I've done the CCP, and then a few weeks ago I passed the SysOps admin, which is probably the hardest well, not probably, it's definitely the hardest of the three associate certs that they have. A lot of people go after the SAA, which is the architecture one, and that's kind of like understanding the different resources and what they do within the AWS cloud. The SysOps admin one is understanding that and then also understanding how to actually configure and troubleshoot them. So it was pretty crazy. There actually was like 3 labs involved in passing the exam. And you'll see that really what I've been doing a lot lately is creating different types of labs for those who are learning either just doing AWS basics and aren't going after a certificate, or kind of aligning with the SAA or the SysOps admin exam. So see, I have some stuff in here, networking basics, auto scaling groups, have a practice test. And I guess the thing that I want to point out with this is that for both of the AWS certs that I ended up going after and passing, one of the main resources that I used in studying for those was the ExamPro learning courses for those. And I've done videos or a video with Andrew Brown before. He's the owner of ExamPro and actually creates those courses. Absolutely amazing content. I really appreciate the way that he lays stuff out in his videos. The fact that he has, questions and flashcards and labs all tied up in all of the different lessons as you move through his courses. So if we kind of go and take a look, pretty much what I wanted to do is give away his courses for his associate classes. And you can go and you can buy these individually if you want to. Pretty good, but you can also do a multi-associate package, which is what I'm going to do and give away here. You can kind of see his breakdown of what these classes look like, have lectures, cheat sheets. Actually has kind of a synopsis up here. These follow-alongs are pretty much like labs that you kind of just, walk through with him as he does different things. And then also this practice exam here, he let me do a video walkthrough of that here. So you can go and check that out. If you know anything about what I do with the practice exams, you know that I love a good practice exam walkthrough. So yeah, so this is pretty cool. This is a great package. So I'm going to give one of these away as well. So let me move back over here and we can do that. There we go. There is our winner for the ExamPro course. Pluto Junior 94, congratulations. I will hit you up on Twitter if you don't happen to be in here at all. I'll end up finding you and end up getting you the course. So awesome. Congratulations again on that. And let's see. That is going to kind of move us to the last giveaway that we are talking about here. Let me go ahead and move that back. And so we're going to talk a little bit about networking and coding. So a few different things. As I mentioned, I do have a decent amount of Cisco stuff. I mean, like I said, that's kind of where I started my career, is definitely on the Cisco side of things. Way back in 2006. 2006 or 2005. I don't know. It was a long time ago, a long ass time ago. I started with a Network Plus, Security Plus, and then CCNA was like my first real hard certification. Back then, it actually was, you could either do 2 tests or you could do 1 combined test. And it had a bunch of labs, and it was not an easy exam by any means. So, that was kind of the what pushed me on my path to becoming a network engineer. Do have a bunch of stuff here that covers a lot of different Cisco topics, so definitely check out these labs. I've also been doing kind of like CCNA and CCNP labs lately. Did a bunch of OSPF ones. I want to say it doesn't actually look like it's tagged in this playlist, so I'll have to go look. But I actually started doing some BGP labs as well. All good stuff. And when it comes to talking about people who put out amazing Cisco content, David Bombal is probably at the top of the list when it comes to that. All the stuff he puts out is amazing. He has some great courses on Udemy that you can go and pick up. And the one that I picked up this year, well, actually, I picked it up a year ago. Might have been a year ago. And as it goes with all courses on Udemy, you kind of buy it and it just sits there and you forget about it for a year, and then you log back in to buy something else, and then you're like, oh crap, I actually bought like 10 courses and I haven't used any of them. So I resigned myself to, you know what, I'm actually going to do a Udemy course. And his Python for Network Engineers class was exactly what I needed. I wanted to learn, uh, well, I won't say that I hadn't had any experience with Python before, but I wasn't consistent with it. So I needed something that was going to make me want to be consistent with learning it. And his approach to teaching Python was awesome because it wasn't jumping into the weeds as far as all the specifics about Python syntax. It was starting off with, hey, these are some ways that you can use simple Python scripts to end up doing real things on a network with networking devices that actually will impact how easily you're able to do your job. And for me, I just thought that was a great approach because it hooked me. It made me be like, okay, I can now see the usefulness in this versus do I really want to sit here trying to make a Python calculator? There's value in that, but I don't know, when you're actually doing a real job and actually working on real things, kind of whimsical Python tasks might not be what speaks to you the most. But if somebody could be like, hey, I can show you how to do 5 things with Python right off the bat that you can go and take and use in your environment today, then hey, I just thought that was awesome. So that ended up leading to me kind of digging into some more Python stuff. And you can kind of see I have actually a few other kind of like coding walkthroughs that I did here. Really, his class there was the basis of pushing me to go and do some CI/CD pipeline automation, which was absolutely awesome. So tying together like drone servers and GitHub and using Python and Nornir and a whole bunch of other tool sets to kind of do this, beginning to end automation pipeline. The stuff that I learned in his Python for Network Engineers class definitely pushed me towards doing that. So here we go. Right here, like I said, he ended up giving me 1,000 of these to give away. So if you want to get this, all you have to do is go to Udemy, find his Python Network Programming for Network Engineers class. 2 ways you can do this. You can either click the link that's in the video description for what you're watching right now, or you can just go there and use the code CyberInsight. You can throw that in there. Normally $40, you're going to get it for free. So pretty much everybody who's watching the stream and will be watching the stream, the next 2 days, you get it for free. So that is my gift to you via David Bombal. Again, thanks, David, for sharing this with everybody. It's an absolutely amazing course, and I hope that it is interesting for people and is impactful for people as it was for me, as far as getting into some things that might be a little bit outside of people's comfort zones. So yeah, I think that is all of it. Is anybody have any questions or comments or whatever? This was kind of a quick stream so far, only 30 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some other comments up, kind of answer some stuff. But yeah, if you have any questions on anything you want to ask right now while we're all here, you can go ahead and do that. We can turn it into a little ask me anything, I guess. But let me just kind of move around and we can throw some stuff back up here. So I'm gonna cycle through some comments. A whole bunch of congrats coming in. Appreciate all those. Good to see your kid. Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of consistency. It's not easy to make that many videos and try and be consistent with it and stay engaged with it. But I don't know. There's a few different aspects to making content that is fun for me. There's the technical aspect of what it is that I'm talking about, and that is always fun, whether it's me learning new things and sharing that or rehashing things in a way that might make more sense to people who are trying to learn things. Then there's also the actual content creation aspect, which is fun and interesting too, learning how to do different types of filming, editing, I use Canva a lot for infographics, thumbnails, posters, all that type of stuff. So all of that has been kind of interesting. And then kind of, cutting your chops on understanding social media and SEO and all that type of stuff. I'd say altogether, it's been interesting enough to keep me engaged with it and make me want to keep doing more. So, yeah, but I appreciate the comment though. Let's see. Congrats. Thanks for dropping in. We saw that Victor won one of the Juniper certs. And Kiki dropping some congrats there. See if there's any questions. A lot of congrats coming in. Let's see. I think Ricky was referring to the AWS. I think that came in when we were talking about the AWS course from ExamPro. Definitely go check those ExamPro courses out. I mean, I think they're really good. Especially the CCP one for like the base level or the intro level AWS cert. I think I did that and was able to pass that in like 2 weeks. So it's a pretty solid course. Is a Python 4 NetEng training different from what Kirk Mars? I'm not actually sure, so I don't want to give you some bad information on that. I'm not quite sure. Any good certificate for improving your web app pen testing skills? Certificate that would be good for that. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on like how advanced are your web app pen testing skills? Like, are we talking like intro level? Or are you talking like more advanced stuff? Like, I'm sure that there's a SAN cert that would be really, really good with that. I'm sure that the OSCP probably would align with that. I don't know. I mean, the Pentest Plus, you'd get some basics, but really it all comes back to like how much labbing and the type of labbing you're going to do. So I don't even know if you really need to do a cert per se. I would say, follow some follow some of the content from XSSRat, go and do a whole bunch of TryHackMe stuff, um, and then kind of go from there. But again, yeah, it really comes down to like what level of web app pen testing you're already at. I know that there's a few other certs as well, but I just don't remember the acronyms off the top of my head. With all your experience, do you have any advice for those of us that are just starting out? Oh, I mean, I have a lot of advice. I actually have a bunch of videos talking about that. So I have a Ask Me Anything video. If you go look at my playlist, there's a career advice playlist, and there's a Ask Me Anything in there where I laid out a whole bunch of different stuff talking about, uh, certs versus degrees versus experience, and like, what type of skill sets you want to use and which type of free resources are most beneficial. Um, I would say, I mean, just like one piece of advice is there's a lot of stuff out there. It's very overwhelming. But there's also a lot of free stuff out there and a lot of free resources. Um, Focus on the fundamentals to start with. A lot of people want to jump right into cybersecurity. They want to jump right into cloud, and they don't focus on the fundamentals of tech, right? Like networking is the basis of all of this. And if you don't understand networking, if you don't understand IPs, data flows, ports and protocols, how communication happens between endpoints, you're going to be giving yourself an uphill battle, and kind of doing yourself a disservice. You can still be successful. There's lots of people that do it, but you're going to have to end up learning these things eventually if you're going to end up being really successful in your career. So I would say, yeah, focus on the fundamentals, ask questions, network, um, like actually, reach out to people, become a solid part of the community, right? Do your research first before you ask people questions, because a lot of people are very, very, very willing to help people, but they also get a lot of people that ask a lot of questions that a basic Google search might be able to provide some semblance of an answer for. So be respectful when you're asking for that type of stuff. Um, Normally, I think it's always good to be like, hey, I'm wondering about this thing. I've done some research. I found this, this, and this. Do you agree with that? Do you have any information that you think would be different from what I found? That way, at least when you're asking for help from people, they understand that you've put some effort into it, and aren't just collecting answers from people. So, let's see. Do I have a video on VMware or any hypervisor? So like a ESX basics video or something. That's actually you might you might have actually hit one of the topics that I don't have a video on. And are you talking about actually from like within a data center, or you're talking about just like how to spin up VMs on like a workstation, or something like that? Because I know I can point you to a lot of good resources on how to do that. Even DJAX Alpha, he has a bunch of videos on how to like spin up VMs, and I don't know why I always forget what it's called, but the free the free VM software, not VMware. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's been a long day. But the other free one that you normally end up having problems with compared to the paid version of VMware. Uh, you can use both of those, and I know that there's a bunch of labs out there. But for actually like configuring ESXi and interacting with switches and stuff like that, that's actually kind of interesting. I don't know I'm ready to start creating content on that, but that is stuff that I'm pretty familiar with and have worked with quite a bit. Um, so I don't know. I'll think about that. You can also hit me up on Twitter with that, and I can actually we can retweet that and see if anybody else has some solid content that's already out there that might be helpful to you. Let's see. Is it easier to enter the industry as a developer and then switch to cybersecurity? Um, I mean, I think it can always be easier once you already have a foot in the industry, you already have experience, and you already are in with a company. Um, and I've kind of talked about this before for not necessarily this type of transition, but maybe a similar type of transition. So let's say that you want to get into cybersecurity, but you are working uh, on help desk, or you're working on ops, or you're working you know maybe on help desk. You want to get into network admin or network engineering. Um, because of the fact that all of this stuff is so intertwined, there's always the opportunity to provide additional benefit to other teams within your organization. Everybody doesn't have enough people, is overworked, always could use help. So at least what I found in my experience is that people normally are willing to accept that from other people. There's a few different ways that you can do that. You can, try to reach out to see if there's any things that you do that's already within your lane that could benefit other folks on that team. So if you're a developer, maybe you could help with some different types of configurations, coding, um, API stuff for different types of tool sets that the cybersecurity team has. Maybe there's some automation that they aren't using or aren't even aware that they could do that you as a developer might be able to help them with. And then at the same time, you'd start kind of learning about the different tools and resources that they're using, and I think that kind of matches up nicely. But I think there's always ways to kind of cross pollinate on teams to expand skill sets, and if your end desire is to end up on the cybersecurity side, I think that might be a reasonable path to go about doing that. Let's see. Um, yeah, fundamentals are always important. Um, So if anybody didn't end up winning any of the giveaway stuff, the the reason I picked certain people and stuff like that was because I knew everybody else would end up getting a David Bombal course. So really, everybody is a winner for something. So let's see. I complete my Azure admin and want some AWS knowledge. Can I go for AWS sysadmin or architect directly, or do I have to get the associate cert first? That's a good question. I think it would be very easy to get the. I think what you meant was the CCP, their entry level one. Um, I think because you already have the background cloud knowledge, really it's just about understanding the difference in terminology between what Azure does versus what AWS does. So do you necessarily need to go get it? Probably not. You probably could just go and look at the SAA. But given that it actually is, probably wouldn't be that hard for you to get the CCP, and you're going to end up having to learn that information anyway in your studies. Also, something to point out with the AWS certs is when you pass one, they end up giving you a 50% off voucher for your next AWS cert. So I don't know, something to consider. I just think the information that you're going to cover in the CCP, you're going to have to learn one way or the other when you're going after the SAA. So it just depends on, the time crunch that you're under and whether or not you want to, actually go and take another exam. But technically speaking, I think you probably would be okay without doing it. Hypervisor ESXi. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll think about that, and if not, we can see about if there's some other resources. I bet you could do a couple videos on advanced ESXi networking. Yeah, I mean, so there's not too much to that, at least from my experience. I mean, really create some distributed virtual switches. You can do some VLAN tagging. And then just like trunk ports to whatever your uplink connections are. It's pretty straightforward for the most part. But yeah, the only thing is, I'm trying to think how I would want to lab that up in here. Like I have some stuff that has ESXi on there. Yeah, we could possibly come up with something. I'll stew on it for a little bit. But yeah, all right. Let's see. Any other questions before we wrap this up? Okay, then we will go ahead and do that. I appreciate everybody dropping in. Congratulations to all the winners, which is everyone. If you dropped in, you are a winner. So yeah. Let's see. Oh wait, that's a good question. Don't you think it's frustrating that every day there's a new technology to follow up? No, I can understand why that would be frustrating. But I think it depends on the lane that you're in, and kind of your perspective on it. Technology changes a lot, but the speed at which new technologies is adopted within organizations is not that fast. So you want to kind of protect yourself against getting overwhelmed by all the changes all the time. Focus on the stuff that's the fundamentals. Focus on the stuff that's applicable within your environment, and then find ways to improve on those things. But for me, like stuff does change all the time. Most of the time, the way that things change is actually, at least to me, in an interesting or cool way. It's normally building upon something and making something better. So, I just like to learn new stuff, right? So that's kind of cool. But you do have to kind of stay in that mental space to kind of protect yourself against getting overwhelmed from that. Because if you don't, then yeah, everybody else is going 100 miles an hour. Everybody else is getting all these different certs. Everybody else is doing all these different things. And it can be absolutely overwhelming. So you just kind of want to focus on what your skill set is, the ways that you can be impactful, and how you can grow your career, and not worry too much about what everybody else is doing, because if you watch a whole bunch of other people, everybody is going to be doing different things. And if you kind of add those all up, then it seems like there's all these things for you to do when really it's not quite that drastic. Let's see. One last here. Okay. One last. Should we choose a better company to enter as a developer, then switch to security, or direct to cybersecurity, which can be hard for someone who is just completing his engineering degree? So there's a lot that depends on that. I mean, depends on like where you're located in the industry that you're specifically trying to get into. I would always say, I mean, getting into the career field and getting a job and making money should be like the baseline of what you're trying to go after. It's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's like a triangle. At the bottom, you're kind of like trying to take care of the fact that you are safe, you have food, you have a house. And as you kind of work up this pyramid, right, then you kind of get into helping others and self-actualization and stuff like that. Well, you can kind of apply the same thing as far as getting into tech and into the career field. So I would always say get your foot in the door, establish, what your salary should be, and then you can kind of build from there. Because if you're going to struggle to get into cybersecurity, but you already feel that you have the skill set to get into being a developer, kind of like the other question that I answered, use your developer skills to get into the industry, use your developer skills to kind of align with helping the security teams, the cybersecurity teams, and then you can kind of build out from there and transition later on. Versus if you're going to be really, really struggling to get a straight cybersecurity job. Although you might be able to just spin that in the way that you are approaching interviewing for jobs and stuff like that, and kind of tell them, hey, I have this background being a developer, computer science background. I can do these things, but really I want to do these things in a way that will end up helping the cybersecurity team. And hey, you might right off the bat end up doing developer work for a cybersecurity team. And then, you ended up meeting your goal of wanting to do cybersecurity work and being on a cybersecurity team, but, you're helping them by doing development stuff. I mean, I'm a network engineer and have to know some Linux and Python for automation. Of course, someone knows their late cloud and so. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that is the burden of being a network engineer, my friend. All the other groups that you talked about very rarely actually have to focus on knowing. I mean, sometimes, and especially if they're good engineers that work on those other teams and do those things, then they will pick up things here and there, and everybody will work together nicely. But as a network engineer, the thing is you're always going to get blamed for stuff not working, and because of that means that you have to learn how other people's stuff works and how to troubleshoot their things so that you can be like, hey, not only did I show that the network engineering side of things is working, you can also kind of help push people towards isolating issues on their stuff. So yeah, that just is what it is. It makes you a better engineer. In doing that, also, it means that your career path to end up becoming an architect at some point is probably laid out a little bit better because you have your hands in all these different things. So it is a blessing and a curse at the same time, but it is what it is. All right. I think that's it. I think we can go ahead and wrap things up here. I appreciate everybody dropping in. Thanks again for 10K subscribers. That's absolutely awesome. Hope to put out some more great content. Going to be focusing, on some more cloud stuff. We're going to get back to the CCNP and CCNA lab stuff as well, and then eventually back to some TryHackMe, and then kind of go from there. So yeah, if you haven't yet and you're still here, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. The rest of that, Jay, what's up, man? I just saw you drop in. Yeah, all that other good stuff. Share the channel with your friends who are learning about tech and cyber and all that type of stuff. I'll help you grow if you continue to help me grow. That's kind of how it works. So, all right, go get at it. Have a great week, and yeah, we'll chat soon. All right.